First, let me just apologize because I thought it would be a nice break to have a few videos being projected. So, to make a bit of a break from people speaking, yabba yabba yabba. But unfortunately we don't have a projector, so I won't be able to show you that. But you can always go to www.fiftinternational.org and pretty much everything is over there, and we'll try to upload more in the next few days. Despite the fact that mostly you only see Simon, I'm the one holding the camera, just for the information. You know, just because you don't see me doesn't mean I wasn't there. As Simon said, I spoke the French that was able to convince that intelligence officer. And that was one of the creepiest moments in my life, and I thought for a very short time that that's it, Joana, it was lovely to know you. Anyhow, I'll try not to be redundant, because I think Simon pretty much covered everything that I was going to say as well. But I'll be short, and then hopefully you can ask me some questions as well, and I'll try to bring a bit of flavor to it, because I suppose that you're hoping to see a bit of the eyewitness and a bit of more anecdotes and what you felt as part of the demonstrators. As a matter of fact, we did, you know, pick up some stones and try to do our little bit, failing because my ability to throw stones is apparently not good at all. I'm a suck at baseball. But nonetheless, you know, we did all of that, and I don't know how Simon felt about that, but I went all about the whole spirit of reporting and photojournalist, and clearly put ourselves in danger, particularly when confronted with militia afterwards. But hey, there you go. So yesterday I was, apparently as the first Works Power member ever, to be invited to speak at Education Activist Network platform on what I saw and experienced in Egypt. Damn it, my nose just went berserk. Anyhow, and to an audience of mainly students and education workers, what I tried to do was to establish the parallels between what is happening in Egypt now and what has happened and should happen in the streets of Britain when it comes to our own social movement. However, today I want to go a little bit beyond that, and I want to sort of draw on those strengths and weaknesses of the social movement, and particularly everything that the Egyptians are learning from the weaknesses of their social movement, and that we should learn as well, because to a certain extent we haven't as well as they have. You know, I spoke about, and I'll you know, repeat that here because I think it's important that you all know, you know, how contagious and you know, euphoria within Tahrir Square was. You know, the marvels of dissent. You know, people gleaming in their eyes and thinking. And I'm sure people heard me say this yesterday. But the point is, it was quite incredible on how, you know, you can see in people's faces like, holy shit, we really made this. This is incredible. And that's what we felt as well to a certain extent, particularly being part of it. You know, the prospect of revolution being in everyone's hearts and minds. I spoke about people who we met in Tahrir Square, and the women who gave us water and food, and the men who were breaking stones and bringing them to the forefront, and all these youngsters that came up to us and knew all the Twitter hashtags and wanted to send these messages of rebellion, as Simon talked about, you know, to us, members of the free world, as they mentioned it. I don't know if it is that free, but you know, there you go. You know, I spoke about how incredibly efficient their grassroots movement is, their organization, security measures, and how the anger that these people have was able to galvanize millions onto a square, and how, again, we should try to emulate that on the streets of Britain. Tahrir Square is built of quite diverse demographics. I mean, you know, you have quite a good ratio when it comes to gender, but then you have a melange of generations, each one with their own aspirations and aims, and it's made of a panoply of different social classes, which Simon also approached. You know, you have the lawyers and engineers who talk to you, but are usually in the center of the square and speak at rallies and participate in debates. And then you have sort of the hardcore working class masses at the forefront, battling with these reactionary militias that came throughout probably the third day of demonstrations, and who really, you know, are in the front of the confrontations. However, what you don't see in Tahrir Square is a noteworthy representation of political fronts. I mean, sure, we did see, and I did film a professor that is apparently part of the Muslim Brotherhood, but everybody is willing to, despite despite me being quite skeptical about it, saying like he's not speaking here as a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, he's just part of the Egyptian people. Up to you to decide if that's the question or not. But in any case, even the Muslim Brotherhood, which is now taking sort of center stage within Western media, has been slow in taking part in these protests, and is now very keen on negotiating and compromising these demands that the protesters within the square have made. And I'm quite sure that very similar bourgeois conservative bodies, political bodies, would be keen on doing the same. And then you have coalitions of youth groups that Simon also mentioned, that organize in great part the protests at Tahrir Square, and you have this political consciousness, which is clear by the demands that protesters have made and all the things that they've said on video to us. How they want accountability. This lady, quite shy and quiet in headscarf, and I'm assuming from quite a conservative background, but in less saying how we want accountability from this government, and how they want to change things. But there seems to be no political cohesion and certainly no political program behind these same demands. And the danger that lingers around such a movement with such lacks is not just the backlash of counter-revolution, but the stifling transformation of a project that could be a socialist revolution into a slow transition into liberal democracy, or, as Simon mentioned before, within a post-colonial context of Egypt, that could then also, even if it becomes so, possibly go into rapid descent into a new, just as authoritarian and repressive regime as Hosni Mubarak's. And I was seriously afraid that this would happen, or these would be the developments quite soon when I was in Cairo, particularly after I heard this teacher come up to us and say that, alluding to how the greater the economic situation in Egypt is, how he as a teacher only made £7 a day. And very quickly after he had said this, someone else come to silence him and said, like, no, this is not what we're fighting here. What we're fighting here is, this should be silenced because this is a movement for democracy, not about living wages.